Chairman Wontumi in a court case no and matters arising. Abusuya okoko piemu our high court and sem bebre and see aha gossip politics TV. So you baba dwedwem unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit on the notification bell so that any updates be I drop also onsa ebetumi akabi. Abusuya say open prepaid credit any card atwa bora suitable needs ventures. Abusuya say offer suitable needs ventures ababi a wo bia no obey your prepaid credit at the amount first our number ya was 0595 696-588. Suitable needs ventures and ye light edi free or a very legit source ne obo edwuma ye ankasa mo membonra yensemu chairman Wontumi ene okokopie mu ewo Accra High Court chairman Wontumi ono ense court man ultimatum say se ode ne witness na ye eba na chairman Wontumi kokopie mu ewo court no ono ene ne witness plus ne lawyer no ne witness no ekoko gina box mu na abusuya de na chairman Wontumi ehwehwe free no enye eno na epie chairman Wontumi ne witness no or kira there was some conversation there and as a communication there na ekoso between chairman Wontumi and state witness no one akuaku no Chairman Wontumi the general manager or be testify against Chairman Wontumi na emu no. Chairman Wontumi witness no or say enkomo bia ekoso during document be illegal mining na honsem no ono de na onim hwe efa ho. But na the Chairman Wontumi epene say nko pese ne witness no oka asem bia say ebema state witness no ase ono ne ebehu say or dada or mine no and ase or dada court no. But Chairman Wontumi witness no on my court in whom baby are not penny down or the etoya abusuya chairman Wontumi no or say hey akwaya wono obabi dia dance and so amame no de odi ababe yem no abusuya me yanko na yanko nkotie ensema ekoso ewo courtroom wo ankasa chairman Wontumi the funny part I wom class or no ankasa witness so na say or did the chi akwa from ewo na ansa na ebekon me pese menemu edi enkomo bi ewo hasi na open computer papa and as a laptop papa na we use ya Bora Perosi computers and accessories the woman say ukra low budget ukra high budget Perosi ebe ma laptop and the quality computer na we use it first our number ya egusu 0247 030108 and I say 0597 942-133. So fresh our numbers 3 now when your Perosi computers are sound so fresh 0540-882-824. Now unhia Perosi and as one kasa person 229 na oko Perosi ni location na or Kumasi Bokrum Estate. Eli eho and a Perosi computers ewo. Abusuya omi yanko na yanko kuti ensema ekoso.
Well, Lord Addo brought us that report from court, but we'll stay there because former Western Region Minister Kwabena Darko-Mensah has been discharged by the court after he testified as a third defense witness for former MPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Wontumi. Among other things, Darko-Mensah admitted during cross-examination that he was unaware of the conversation between Wontumi and Henry Okumi, who is the prosecution witness number 2, which resulted in the latter mining on his concession at Samre Boy. Lord Addo reports.
Bernard Enchi-Boisiakon, also known as Wontumi, is facing charges of assigning mining rights without the approval of the land minister and facilitating illegal mining operations on the Samre Boy concession in the Western region. Former Western Regional Minister Kwabena Darko-Mensah, who also served as chairman of the Western Regional Security Council, told the court during his testimony that a formal complaint was received from Akonta Mining about the invasion of illegal mining operators on Wontumi's Samre Boy concession. He affirmed that the complaint was written and documented and was urgently acted upon by the Security Council, as it was consistent with several complaints from other mining rights owners in the region about organized criminal groups invading concessions and carrying out illegal mining. During cross-examination by Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Fremsai, the former minister, who served from 2017 to 2025, disclosed that he did not personally know the prosecution's second witness, Henry Okum, the individual who testified that he was commissioned by Wontumi to mine on his concession. Henry Okum had further told the court that Wontumi did not produce any formal mining rights. Asked about the engagement between Okum and Wontumi, Darko-Mensah indicated that he was unaware of the interaction between the small-scale miner and the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman. Lead counsel and the Apiakubi expressed satisfaction with the outcome of the testimony.
Was to indicate that it was rather Chairman Wontumi and his company that made reports to his office as then chairman of the Western Regional Security Council, and that all efforts made by the Security Council to ward off illegal miners and also to redeem or reclaim the lands so degraded by illegal mining were at his instance. So today's evidence sits very well with our own, and indeed it exonerates people who engage in reclamation of degraded lands.
And we are streaming on Facebook and on our website, so be a part of the show.
We begin from the United Kingdom, where President John Mahama has stated that the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill passed by Parliament is not yet ready for presidential assent, noting that the process still has some way to go. Speaking at Chatham House in London on Monday, he explained that concerns have been raised regarding the bill's passage, particularly issues related to quorum and procedural compliance during parliamentary proceedings.
Parliament has been considering it, and it was supposed to have been passed last week. There have been a few issues raised. One, that there wasn't quorum when it was passed. That's an issue that has come up. And then two, there were some procedural lapses in terms of its passage. I just got some communication that the Speaker was reading a statement to address the issue of the lapses in the passage of the bill. And so, like I said when I was the opposition leader, the President has a number of options in this matter. It must come for assent, and so once the President gets it, you go through it because you are not part of the discussion in Parliament. And so the legal representative, the legal counsel in the Presidency and the Attorney General would sit on it because it was a private member's motion. Right. This was not a government bill. And so we'll look at it and make sure that everything is in order before the President is advised to assent. The President has another option if there are some things that he thinks are a problem. He can refer to the Council of State for advice. The Council of State is an advisory body to the President, and so they will take a look at it, and then they will advise the President. And if there are issues, substantial issues that are raised, the President would return the bill to Parliament, indicating exactly what the issues are. And so there's still quite a while to go before that bill becomes law.
Thank you.
In a related development, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, says he was surprised at the speed by which the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill was passed by Parliament. He has, as a result, summoned the two leaders of the House to explain matters to him, insisting such a critical bill must be passed by consensus.
We know the copious instruments and laws on human rights. All over, we have to go through all, from the UN Charter to the African People's Rights and what, all, we have to go through all. Then we have also our development partners who have a lot of contributions to make. We have the United Nations coming in with proposals, some memo and everything. We as Ghanaians also have to dig deeper into our cultures, our customs, our values before we came out with what was passed on Friday. And in fact, when it was passed on Friday, it was even a surprise to me. Because I knew that we were going to start the consideration of the bill. And that was the instructions I left before I went to attend to other activities. It was Friday, and members wanted to go home early to their constituencies, what we're going to see today. So I knew they wouldn't have completed it. But all of a sudden, I read about this passage. I reacted, and later I saw on TV all the things that happened. And so this evening, I have asked the leaders to meet me in my office. So they will be here for us to go through it. This is such a critical bill that we believe there must be consensus. But it's not about passing bill. It's about implementing it and making sure that it benefits.
Meanwhile, the minority caucus in Parliament has accused government and the ruling National Democratic Congress of weakening the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill through extensive amendments before its passage by Parliament last Friday. The Member of Parliament for Asen South, Reverend John Ntim-Fodjo, was addressing a media briefing.
According to Reverend John Ntim-Fodjo, the changes proposed in the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill represent a departure from commitments made to Ghanaians by the NDC during the 2024 election campaign. He maintained that existing Ghanaian laws already criminalize same-sex sexual relations and same-sex marriage, adding that the primary objective of the Anti-LGBTQ+ bill was to address the promotion, advocacy and sponsorship of LGBTQ-related activities. The Asen South NP cited several amendments, including changes to provisions defining prohibited conduct and the introduction of new clauses, which he argues create exemptions for certain persons and institutions.
Promotion of and advocacy for activities prohibited under this act. This is the main thrust of the object of the bill. This is what we don't have in any part of our existing laws, for which this bill came about. Clause 2 says that nobody should promote any such things. Don't do things that will entice, advocate for, and make it enticing, incentivize, advertise, campaign for it. Don't do it. But they say that no, insert this immunity. This is an immunity clause. You are lifting them above the law and saying that if you are within these categories, you can do anything that promotes LGBT, that advocates for LGBT, supports and sponsors LGBT, enables LGBT, and just by virtue that you fall within these categories, as for you, you are above the law, you should be exempted.
Meanwhile, government and sponsors of the amendment bill are yet to formally respond to the minority's latest concerns. The Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill remains one of the most contentious pieces of proposed legislation in the country.
We said in the House of Parliament because what was expected to be a productive special sitting of the House on Monday ended in disappointment after the House was unable to proceed with key businesses due to the absence of several members of the House and the failure of the Minister for Health to appear and answer scheduled questions. Evelyn Tingma reports.
Parliament traditionally does not sit on Mondays as part of its regular schedule. However, the House last week resolved to sit on Monday, June 1, to address pressing national matters, including an appearance by the Minister for Health to answer questions from members of Parliament. When proceedings began shortly after 10 a.m., the sitting was briefly suspended to allow some issues to be resolved. When MPs resumed after about 30 minutes, the Majority Chief Whip, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo, requested that the House be adjourned.
He was there. When the Majority Leader presented the business statement, some of us, we had an opinion that Parliament don't sit on Monday and we should not sit on Monday. You argue seriously that the reason why we should sit on Monday is the Minister of Health will appear. And it is the case that you did not even inform the Minister for Health. And now we are putting it on the clerk at table that the communication didn't get to the minister. When you were programmed, you should have been aware. Today you have wasted everybody's time. The government have no business. And you are only 23 in the chamber. Count yourself, 23 out of 189. 23. And now you want to turn it to the fact that it is our side who don't have members for the bill. Where is the chairman of that committee?
May I move that the House be adjourned till tomorrow midday, 12 o'clock.
As many as are in favor of adjournment say aye. Those against say no.
The sitting may have ended without any major decisions, but it has once again brought the issue of accountability in public service into sharp national focus. Evelyn Tinkma, TV3 News, Parliament House.
And away from Parliament, Ghana and the United Kingdom have signed a strategic growth partnership agreement to fuel job creation and industrial development across key sectors. President John Mahama at the signing assured global investors that Ghana is undertaking major investments to position the country as a regional trade and investment hub. Meanwhile, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama says the banking sector is more robust now despite the 2025 losses.
The Ghana-UK Growth Partnership Agreement adds to the numerous deals and the strong economic ties the two countries share. As we speak, about 670 UK foreign direct investment projects are in Ghana, recording about £1.8 billion in 2025 alone. President Mahama is optimistic about the future and has outlined a raft of Ghana's investment priorities.
Infrastructure development remains central to our economic transformation agenda. Through the $10 billion 5-year Big Push infrastructure program, we're accelerating investments in roads, railways, ports, housing, transport corridors, and aviation infrastructure. We're expanding airport infrastructure and pursuing the establishment of a new national airline to improve connectivity and facilitate trade, tourism and exports between Ghana and major international markets, including, of course, the United Kingdom.
In an assurance to the investor community, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Isiama, says the sector is now robust and has assured that the landmark losses in 2025 will not recur.
Many of the issues that we came to meet, we had already analyzed, we had developed solutions. And so immediately, you remember, we had to tighten monetary policy quickly. Why? Because there were some policy missteps the year before. No wonder you saw our financials, how much it costed us. But it was a necessary cost. We've brought about stability. Most of the costs that we incurred last year will not be repeated this year.
He also shared details about high records of remittances in 2025.
At the time we came in, there was a lot of offshoring going on. And so when we got in, we had to put in measures to compel all these people to pay in those flows so that the inflows come through. No wonder last year remittance inflows got as high as His Excellency has given the figure, nearly $8 billion.
Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen highlighted how expenditure cuts helped the central bank to tame inflation.
Overall, what we've seen is that by cutting expenditure, we have actually assisted the central bank to be able to control inflation. And it was important from that stand. Then secondly, we needed to ensure that we capture our gold to control the gold export. And so we introduced what we call the gold board. And so what we did was the introduction of the gold board alone, once calendar year, we're able to buy gold up to $14 billion United States dollars.
One of the panels discussed the effect of illegal mining and the threat it poses to investors in that sector. But in all of this, the government delegation has assured that there are bold reforms underway to make the country yet again attractive to investors. Christian Yale, TV3 News, London.
And the Minister for Foreign Affairs says that all is set for the second batch of Ghanaian evacuees to leave South Africa once a landing permit is granted by the South African authorities for the aircrafts to land. According to the Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, the numbers have risen to almost 900 Ghanaians seeking to flee the unsafe streets of South Africa. Ghana's efforts to evacuate its citizens from South Africa have been delayed after South African authorities failed to grant landing permits for the 2 aircraft expected to transport stranded Ghanaian nationals out of the country. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa says although the number of voluntary evacuees has increased from the original 300, no effort will be spared in repatriating every Ghanaian willing to leave South Africa. He added that this commitment remains firm as xenophobic attacks continue in parts of the country.
The final batch of Ghanaians in South Africa have all now registered. We have a little above 600. Earlier, those who wrote their names was in the region of 800, but it's clear that we'll have to go beyond that. We now are exceeding 900, but thanks to the compassionate leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he has said that all Ghanaians in harm's way, in distress, who are being harassed, being dehumanized, we should not leave anyone behind. So I can assure you that all is set for the next batch to arrive. We're just waiting for the South African authorities to finalize our request for the flight permits so that our chartered jets can move in.
He further debunked assertions by South African authorities that the majority of Ghanaians who were repatriated were illegal immigrants.
What is beautiful about the registration we are doing is that we do it in collaboration with the Department of Home Affairs, the South African authorities, who are there at our High Commission to check for people who they are looking for in their database, people who are wanted, suspected criminals. And so far, not a single Ghanaian is of interest to the South African authorities. So again, this claim by some propagandists, those who seek to tarnish the image of Ghana, that our citizens were lawbreakers, the evidence does not support it. So clearly Ghana is not responsible for any high crime rates or any, avalanche of illegality going on in South Africa.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has cautioned citizens against non-essential travel, noting that the growing violence in South Africa is being closely monitored, with updates to be provided as the situation evolves. Martin Asiedudate for TV3 News.
Abuzachama Wontumi nensem ena HSA be drop a ho update edimamwa. There is much interesting moment ahead. I be drop latest update court issues no ye be drop bebre e wa hase na mo nso mahu de aircall ene de eba. On subscribe hit on the notification bell so na be any update be drop no nso wonsa ebitumi akabi medamase.